Hello and welcome to the second episode of Animal World Live. I have with me my very good friend and special guest today, Tristan Dix, and we're going to be discussing Hosanna, the leopard, and of course Xongile. You can't really mention Hosanna without Xongile.
I'm pretty sure we're going to delve into
Lots
of
leopard stuff.
But it was his fourth birthday.
It was his
why
fourth
we
birthday.
decided we should chat about it.
Exactly. I can't believe that 4 years ago I found Hosanna when he was probably not much bigger than my hand. Him and his sister, and probably less than 8 hours old, which is amazing.
It's crazy. You know what's crazy also is the fact that all the cubs that we found since on Juma have been in the first sighting has been in the same den.
Exactly.
Both times.
And that's not, you guys got to remember, that's not the same mother leopard.
No, it's not.
It was Tundi.
Exactly.
And Tundi was born, apparently, in that exact same
Which
den.
is also super interesting because if you track her kind of movement as a mom,
as an adult.
very interesting. But we'll get into that later.
Yes.
Let's not go down that road.
Yes, there's a lot to talk about. So of course, we would like to get some of your questions about Hosanna and Xongile and leopards in general. We'd love to answer them. Of course, we've got the leopard whisperer, Tristan Dix, here. So we're gonna tease him and test him.
Yes, Brent likes to make fun of me about that name.
Yes,
I love
yeah.
it.
I whisper to dung beetles. That's
Yes.
my speciality.
No, you can't take dung beetles. That's Sydney, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I whisper to scorpions.
Two scorpions.
Oh, no, that's Scott Dyson. No, I'm joking. Of course, guys, so I can see lots of lovely hellos from everyone, but we would like to get some questions, please. So what would you like to know? And we're going to start off focusing on Hosanna. Can you, obviously, my first sighting of Hosanna, he was a sausage. When was your first sighting of Hosanna?
First sighting I had of him, I'm not actually even sure. A long time ago. Not tiny, no. He wasn't a small cub at that stage. He was probably, I think it was a sighting on Arethusa airstrip. We had Karula there and she was calling and calling and calling. And then Hosanna came out, but not Xongile.
And that's when you were still at Sibambili.
So that would have been when I think he was about 6 months old.
And that was when Karula had the kill off at the end of the airstrip and that Tamburti tree.
Exactly,
Yes, I remember
exactly.
that sighting.
Yeah.
My goodness, I can't believe I remember that sighting.
That was when I first saw... Yes, I saw Xongile before that, but not Hosanna. And then Hosanna at that point. And then from there, the sightings became more frequent. Remember they came onto Little Gari for a while?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
I drove up and down the southern boundary of Juma for many hours.
I think we have all driven that southern boundary.
With my head hanging out, trying to make sure I don't miss a track.
That feeling
and
very
then
well.
maybe saying some bad words when the food delivery truck for Chitwa or or for Nkoro or Cheetah Plains came and just destroyed all the tracks.
Yes,
but
and
anyway,
not only that, covered you in dust and various other things as well.
Simon Gladding would like to know, is Hosanna doing well? Well, as far as we know,
Yes.
there's a chance you might
hopefully see him.
see him soon. Yeah, you're
So
going on a little
Monday,
adventure.
Yes, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be at Singita. And the last time he was seen was at Singita. Now, I spoke to the guys 2 days ago, and they were saying that they thought they were following tracks of Hosanna. Milling about in that sort of... It's an interesting kind of part because it's the join of Elephant Plains, Londolozi, Singita. Do you remember Tom's Dam?
Yes.
So Tom's Dam is this dam where he's been hanging out, and he seems to be spending a lot of his time at that particular dam, and he's even had a girlfriend recently.
I saw.
Very big.
It's very, very, very big. Well, for a 4-year-old male
I suppose
leopard.
it's right, because Tumba beat him to the post.
But he did, yes.
Yes, exactly. So, he seems to be doing really well. Scent marking, apparently, like I say, mating, sawing. Seems to be as though...
So there we go. There's Joyanne. Is it unusual for him to be as territorial at that age? He's a little bit young, but not that young.
I suppose for the Sabi Sands, yes.
Yeah.
The reason why we say that is just that the Sabi Sands density of leopard is so huge that you would expect, particularly where he's gone, which is a prime leopard area.
It's great.
You would expect to have big dominant males there, but maybe that brings into question...
Oh, there's one of Tristan's... I know you've just seen one of Tristan's photographs, and a couple of them popping up now, of Hosanna.
So the thing is that I think that maybe the disappearance of Anderson has really opened that door for Hosanna to become that sort of territorial. And Tumba moving down, and Tumba created a little wake of destruction for himself down there. He's chased all those big males out of Singita and kind of right in the middle now, apparently.
So
hanging around.
there's another male to the west. I've forgotten his name.
So there's Ravenscourt.
Day one? Is it Day
There's
One?
Day One, Ravenscourt, Nyaleti. But they mostly more west. Yeah, for some reason Hosanna and Tamba have kind of just decided they want south and north of the river, but on the Singita side, and that's where they are.
Now, and one reason it is the sightings of Hosanna might not be as regular as they were when he was up where we were in Djuma, Elephant Plains, that area, is that particular northern section of Singita. There are very few roads, and there are some very, very thick drainage lines and thick areas, and it's quite a difficult area to track.
Yeah. Also, the fact that you just don't have the road density. So
Exactly. Oh, look!
snacks for Hosanna.
There's a Hosanna snack behind us.
Yes.
It looks like he's going to go wallow at Criticam.
So yeah, the thing is I think also the density of vehicles there is so much less than what you have where we were, and the interest in that particular leopard.
And we're on Criticam now, so everyone's watching the warthog.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pop into the leopard snack.
So the thing is that for me it's the fact that you got far less density, and there's so many other leopards that people maybe are not spending as much time looking for him like what we would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think that's probably why we're not getting as many updates. But just so you know, there's only 2 vehicles allowed in that area on a game drive at any one time. So 2 vehicles in quite a large space, as Brent mentioned, thick, dense area. Not that easy to have regular sightings.
And
I think.
Yeah, Showa wanting to be let out in my ear. I think just maybe open the door there. She's going to drive them nuts. She wants to be part of the show.
Yes.
So who's that? Noel Sewell would like to know. Did you ever experience time with both Hosanna and Xongile on foot by the time you arrived?
I had. Yes.
You did. So
but not great sightings. Not like what you had at Treehouse Dam. You had that really great one
amazing.
at Treehouse Dam, and then you had a really nice one with Xongile in the Milwaukee.
So that was actually the first.
At Treehouse Dam.
No, the Milwaukee.
I see one when she was in the tree.
That was actually the first. So Batman was on camera with me, and I was with Rexon, and we found her, and I snuck in. And normally, like leopard cubs, especially leopard cubs that are used to being walked and stuff, are fine. I was like, well, she looks even more relaxed than normal.
Yeah,
so I sort of scooted along my bottom and told Batman to come, and Rexon was like, this is amazing. And till eventually, I mean, she was directly above us and fast asleep, could not even care. And that's when we realized that Hosanna and Xongile on foot were really special leopards.
Yeah, they're probably the most relaxed leopards I've had on foot. I think, there's actually none that I can think of that are the same as that. I don't know if you had any in other places, but those two were Xongile particularly. So Hosanna was good, was okay, but he was more naughty. He would like to follow you and stalk you and do things like that. I had a really crazy sighting the one day, but from a vehicle. We went on bushwalk on a vehicle and we tracked them across the Milwaukee at Twin Dams, and spotted Xongile first, just sitting not far, looking at us, and turned to my right, and Hosanna was basically just watching me, and then every time I took a step he would take a step, and if I looked at him then he would stop. And so it was this kind of game all the way back to the car. And then do you think when we got in the car we could find them again?
No.
2 of them had disappeared. Typical.
Good question from Roshni. How different are characteristics and behavior of leopards in various areas of South Africa? Which is an excellent question.
And vastly different.
Vastly different.
It really depends on where you are. I mean, you take a leopard from just here on the mountains, on where the Blyder Canyon is, versus the Sabi Sands leopards, or even here in the wildlife estate. The leopards, if they are not in an area that is well protected, where there is not much disturbance of their habitat, and there's lots of food and water, and they grow up with vehicles and people that are able to track, then you find that those animals typically are quite relaxed. But anywhere where you've got main roads, or you've got farming, or you've got any sort of disturbance, then typically they become ghosts.
So I mean, even where Tale of Two Mothers is filmed on Rietsbraid Game Reserve, we struggle for leopards a little bit. It's not that we don't see them, but often our sightings are fleeting.
Exactly, and what's amazing is the number of tracks that you see versus what you see.
Exactly.
The tracks, you can go onto some of the farms here and you'll have tracks on almost every single road, but you won't see a leopard for weeks on end, and that's just because they're just so much more elusive. There's a lot more for them to lose in areas like this, particularly because you've got farming that takes place, and then, like I say, main roads that are dangerous from a car point of view. So yeah, I think there's a number of different sort of reasons as to why things are skittish, or why leopards are skittish. But really, the default setting of a leopard is skittish.
Yes.
Places like the Sabi Sands and Midikwe and Pilanesberg and these national parks, they are not the norm of a leopard outside of a protected area.
Well, if we take Kruger National Park as a great example, because it's on the doorstep, the Sabi Sands and Timbavati and Manuleti are all connected. And you've got to remember, so we're going to the main Kruger National Park here. The greater Kruger National Park, I think it's 2% of the Kruger National Park can be seen via the game drive roads.
20.
Is it 20?
By service and game drive.
But no, but game drive roads.
Maybe 2.
That's 2. The main roads, not the service roads, not the tracks to Biamiti and places like that. So there are leopards, particularly I think the further north you go.
Well, north is crazy. I mean, if you go and look at a map, do yourself a favor and get a map of the Kruger National Park.
Absolutely nothing
and
there.
look at the road network in that northern sector. And if you can compare that, it would be great to have a scale to have the Sabi Sands and that, and the road networks.
Well, I mean,
between
what's
the two.
the Sabi Sands is 60,000 hectares and is crisscrossed with roads, and that is one of the reasons the Sabi Sands has such fantastic game viewing and leopard viewing in particular, because it's very seldom that a leopard can go across a road, and there will be a loop of roads around there that you can figure out. Okay, the leopard is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas Kruger, the next road could be 200 kilometers away.
Exactly, and the trackers on foot.
And the trackers on foot, exactly.
It's a huge thing. I mean, obviously, we do our own tracking when we're doing drives,
which was
when we
fun.
did drives, which was very fun. But most of the time when you're with guests, you have a tracker, and that tracker is able to go off on foot while you're circling. So your time frame of tracking that animal is also vastly reduced. In a place like that, whereas in Kruger, you've just got to hope that they're at the road.
Yeah, this question's come up quite a few times, so I think we should just get it out of the way, because I think a lot of people want to know this. It's from Patty W. Of all the leopards we've each seen, who is your all-time favorite? Now that is a very loaded question, so obviously we're not going to include leopards that you guys don't know. No. So we'll stick it to the leopards.
Well, we can say Sabi Sands.
Most
of you will know most of the Sabi Sands leopards, and if not, we'll explain.
I think I did just before I left Wild Earth, I worked out in my on and off 4 and a bit years, whatever there. Yeah. I think I saw 37 or 38 different individual leopards, and that's only on the traverse we had on live drives. That's not including when you were at Sibambili coming to visiting you and seeing Ingrid's Dam and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's crazy. I know at one point after I think it was about 4 years in the sands, I had seen over 100 individuals. Yeah. So it gives you an idea. There's a lot of leopards out there.
And a lot of movement. So, Tristan.
Favorite?
I want to guess Tristan's favorite of all time.
Of all time?
In the Sabi Sands.
Okay.
Salahesh.
No, funny enough not.
Anderson then?
No.
Not? Oh my dear.
No. All time tricky. Is a bit of a toss-up. Is a bit of a toss-up between 3 individuals.
Campan in there somewhere?
Yes, Campan is one.
He's one of mine as top ones as well.
Campan, just because that was the first kind of big male leopard.
Oh, and he's a beautiful beast.
Him and Kashan male. Did you ever see Kashan?
No, I didn't see Kashan. I think I left the southern Sabi Sands.
He was also an epic leopard, but Campan really was just from a point of view of an incredible specimen of a leopard and his longevity.
And he was dominant for so long.
Just all of his kind of attributes. I think he was one of them.
Yes, I'd have to say Campan slips into my top.
Yeah, I mean, and then just from sheer quality of sightings, Tamba and Tandi will be in there. And I'll tell you why Tandi, because Tandi, I've been grumpy, but I love it. I love the fact that she's grumpy. It makes
a Tandi smile.
Exactly, but I've been fortunate enough to basically see every single one of her litters, and so there's that's part of it. And finding the last 2 litters for the first time is also.
So the only reason you found them is because I was in Kenya.
There you go. That's right. Of course. Right?
Yeah, just checking, making sure.
Exactly. No, exactly.
So, for me, Campan, and then it gets, as Tristan says, very difficult. Female leopard, I think it must be Nkanyeni for me. Really? Out of the ones we know from Sabi Sands. No, if it's for the whole Sabi Sands.
I was about to say, I would have thought you would have gone
Vomba female. The one day I was having a nap, it was really hot like this, and my room was too hot, so I put the mattress outside, and I was having a snooze on my veranda, and I looked up, and Vomba was 3 meters away from me.
That's crazy.
But I think my all-time favorite leopard, Kunyuma.
Yeah, you had a big soft
Kunyuma, I love that leopard. Also another snarly leopard.
And you see how he's moved.
Yo,
which is
yeah,
so
he's
obviously
got great
he was on Djuma and then went down to Mala Mala, and now you see he's in central Londos. So he's
Yeah, he's
also a boy on the move, and not because he's being pushed, he's pushing.
Yes.
rather than
So
being pushed.
a lot of people don't realize that if you go into the actual reasons for leopards and lions to a lesser degree, but more leopards, lions generally face more pressures. Male leopards in particular moving their territories. And if you go look at the Panthera data over an elongated time, the male leopards sort of between 4 or 5 will set up their main territory, and then again at about depending on let's use 5 as a nice example, then and again at about 7 or 8 they swing into a new area. And I'm sure obviously I know you know what it is, but basically it's an instinctive push. Well, that's the theory on it now, to stop them mating with their daughters, because that's after about 2 to 3 years their daughters are coming into sexual maturity, so that they swing their territories and move into a slightly new territory.
It's going to happen now with Tingana and
Exactly.
and Kalamba.
Well, if we look at Tingana already,
Well, look at
how many times his territory's changed since
drastic.
we've been there?
Drastic.
I mean, he barely used to put foot in gym,
Yeah, not at all. Well,
and he never even went to
When we
Buffalo.
first started to see him, he used to be basically where Hosanna is now. So that gives
Yeah.
you an idea of where he was. He was Ottawa, a little bit into Elephant Plains and Arethusa Private. And then, slowly but surely, this eastward march took place. And eventually he even went all the way to Nkoro, which he doesn't do now, So
Yes,
his
yeah.
territory is
And now he's pushed
shifted
north again.
Now he's going north,
Well, Lorena, I like that. Hosanna loved Brent. He marked Brent's car. He claimed him. Yes, he did scent mark my car. He actually scent marked my leg once.
Yes, no, he wasn't shy of
No.
spraying all over the place, was he? But very cool that he did that, though, Brenty.
It was.
I feel
I've been peed on by lion and leopard.
Yes, being peed on by a leopard at least smells fairly
A lot
okay.
better than
Yes,
a lion.
Being peed on by a lion, not so much fun. Don't be peed on by a lion, everybody. That's our tip for the day.
Yes, yeah.
Avoid lion pee at all costs. But it's interesting because, Hosanna was, for me...
He was a very special leopard.
But, we talk about now, urinating on the car and marking you. There was definitely a sense that he, at times, really enjoyed company.
He did. He almost looked. He looked for us.
And when Karula disappeared, especially then, it was interesting. Remember those first few months? We were finding them a lot by themselves. And he seemed to be very happy in the presence of cars, and would often come out of bushes as you would drive down the road, and you'd kind of just find him coming out, as if to say, I'm here, kind of keep me company a little bit. I mean, I know it's maybe a push, but
It is, and it's so easy to anthropomorphize. But he was such a special leopard, and unlike if we were driving guests.
Yeah.
Okay, we've seen our leopard. People want to see lions. They want to see elephants. They want to see giraffe, zebra.
We move a lot more.
We moved a lot more as guides, as opposed to what we did at Safari Life. So we spent more hours with those leopards, in particular with Hosanna, Xongile, Karula, Tingana.
There was a week when we did, do you remember the Gauntlet series?
Yes.
Up in Mara. And David and I actually worked out the number of hours that we spent with Hosanna during the course of that week, and it was almost 60 hours in 1 week.
In
which
1
is
week.
Crazy amount of hours with one leopard,
Yeah.
just following him around. So.
I can remember, I think, on foot in a week, I spent more than 15 hours with Hosanna and Xongile.
You probably, I think, had the best Hosanna and Xongile sightings. I mean, there were lots on foot from many different people, I think, but that initial phase when the two together was just so special.
And that was a question. There's so many great questions, and obviously when Tristan and I get together, we start waffling and chatting and whatnot. But the thing, I'm not sure who asked it. It was that number one most memorable sighting with Hosanna.
I know, that's ridiculous.
I know it's hard. I know what mine is.
Okay, your crocodile one.
No, that actually I forgot about that one. No, it was definitely the day he decided. So we'd been sitting with Xongile at Treehouse Dam, and I was a couple of meters away from Xongile, and I saw Hosanna being Hosanna on the other side, and then all of a sudden Brian Joubert was on camera. And he's like, Brent. And because Brian was crouched down, and Hosanna had stalked right up to a termite mound, right behind Brian, and he was just got his head over it, and then so we moved around, and I sat in between Brian, and then every time Brian's bushwalk antenna moved,
Hosanna would be watching.
and eventually I had to stand up and go, stop it,
And then you back.
stop it, and then he was like, he didn't even run off though, he's like,
It's fine.
lie down,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, the problem with Hosanna is that there were so many sightings with him and other leopards. So like there were so many crazy interaction sightings.
With Tingana.
Tandi.
When Tingana decided to set up shop at Chitwa Dam, I mean, every time we went there was Hosanna and Tingana.
I know, it was crazy. And do you remember when he followed Tandi around for a while? And poor Tamba got hissed at more than Hosanna did at that point. But anyway, I think if I had to say one sighting, tough.
It is tough. I think for me, that being on foot, and it's such a unique, having a male leopard 2 meters away from you.
Some cool on-foot sightings as well. I don't know, Brent, too many.
Yeah. My most stressful Hosanna and Xongile. We're going to go have a quick look at the pigs at the pond, but I'll keep chatting over it. My most stressful Hosanna and Xongile sighting was definitely, it must have been what, 4 or 5 months old, and Karula had a kill quite close to Treehouse Dam, and the wild dogs came in, and Xongile was gone
up the tree,
and Hosanna sat there watching, and he was like, oh dogs, and he chose the thorniest, most horrible mob thorn to go straight up, and that dog was this close to getting his tail.
Sure. That's crazy. Yeah, and dogs would have, if they got hold of him, that would have been the end of it. So glad that he managed to get away. The piggies look happy.
Yeah, the piggies.
I'm quite jealous.
Yeah, I'm quite jealous of those piggies that VM keeps
Brent and I were
popping.
saying that we should have done a wallowing.
We should have done a wallowing chat
Ourselves, yes, in the swimming pool.
Yes.
Today. Honestly, to narrow it down, both good and bad. Oof.
Now I know we are running out of time because Tristan and I can talk about this for the next 10 hours.
Yeah.
But we did take a bit of slack from the guiding industry about our time on foot with Hosanna and Xongile.
We did. We got quite a lot of.
We got quite a lot of negative stuff from the guiding industry saying, oh, we're causing a problem leopard in the future. It's going to possibly be a danger to people or whatnot. And I mean, we obviously had a lot of discussions and stuff about that, and we disagreed.
Well, I mean, I think there were points that were raised that was a fair enough discussion to have.
Exactly.
I think it's very unfair for people to judge, and that goes for us judging other guides.
Of course.
A lot of the time, people.
I always keep quiet when the negative stuff starts going flying.
When you see a video of something, you don't know what leads up to that circumstance. You don't know what's around that person.
Exactly.
You all you've got is that field of view. So I think it's always a thing you've got to be a bit careful about what you say about others, and especially if you don't understand.
And in this day and age, there's enough nastiness that flies around on the interwebs. Might as well just be nice and give people a benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. I think we all, nobody, if you're a guide, I don't think you intentionally generally go out there to cause harm or to do anything. And yes, sometimes you might get it wrong. It's the nature of what we do. And what's probably one of the biggest lessons that came out of doing live safaris, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with this, is that at some point something doesn't go the way you expect it to go. And whereas when you're with guides or with guests, it's 6 people on the car maybe, or 4 people on the car, and that's just who it is that experiences that. But when it is live and out there, you then open that up to a lot of people to criticize and things like that.
It is.
And
I mean, a perfect example is poor Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Steve with those things is just...
With the lines. Steve did absolutely nothing wrong. Every single one of us that has happened to. I've got out and had a leopard where Chloe is.
Exactly. It's
out of the car to look at tracks.
It happens. I had the same thing with Tumba.
Exactly.
Get out the car and there he is right there. But the thing is, those things happen. But he got crucified.
And by guides, by certain people we know as well.
I know.
And as I said, and anyone who's worked in the bush for as long as we have, things happen. And it's how you deal with them at the end of the day. But anyway, so it was just quite an interesting segue, and because it's been so much fun talking about Hosanna. We might have to do it again. We ran out of time. Because of
Leopard's
course,
a bad topic.
Yeah, leopards are a bad
especially
topic.
for you and I, because we can go at this for a good 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
and get tired of it.
Exactly. If we talk about leopard and fishing, then we're done. Yeah,
and if we can get both in the same
leopard
place.
So I saw a leopard while fishing. No, I'm joking. That because
that will go
way beyond. Yes. Okay, so we got 2 more minutes, so we're going to take a couple more questions quickly. Who's going to get the first question in? Da-dum. I'm watching. Yes. the mini painted dog, Thor.
Yes.
She's watching the warthogs through the fence.
She can be glad Hosanna is not here.
Yes, she can be very glad as long as that. Although very exciting, we do have a female leopard with 2 cubs that is causing me to be a bit paranoid. So in the afternoon, Chloe has to go back into the secluded side of the house to make sure she's not snacked on by a leopard. See, we've done some serious training with her. She now doesn't bark at the warthog.
It's quite amazing.
Oh, it's taken some serious training to stop Chloe from trying to fight with the warthogs. Now she just watches them. But the warthogs get cheeky.
You know what's quite interesting with warthogs?
Oh, there we go. The warthog tried to charge her. She couldn't help herself. Chloe!
I was going to say now.
I'll give this to you. I would have sorted out Chloe.
What I was going to say
Naughty
is
girl,
that,
come here. You are
interesting
being
with
so
Hosanna
good.
and warthogs particularly is that we haven't really seen Hosanna go after warthogs very much at all. You'll find that some leopards develop a taste for it, and
Naughty dog.
Tingana,
so
Anderson,
good.
and those things go after, and Hukamuri, warthog hunters, but Hosanna seemingly not as interested by it. He seems to like to go for impalas and the likes, dikers. He loves little dikers.
Look at us trying to watch the warthogs over my shoulder. You're a horrible dog. You were being so good. You didn't bark at the warthogs till the warthog had put its nose against the fence. I suppose this is your territory. Anyway, guys, it has been absolutely fantastic being able to chat to you about Hosanna and leopards. And of course, I can guarantee you we will definitely get Tristan back on.
I'm based, yeah.
And Tristan lives literally 5 minutes away down the road. So Tristan and I will be doing lots of fun adventures. So have a look out on our social media. And also remember, guys, please, I know that lots of people talk about how you can help PaintedDog.tv. You can help us via Super Chat on YouTube, Patreon. You can become a patron. We're going to be releasing some new Patreon footage shortly on the male lions on Reach Bait that we've been filming. And also Teespring, if you want to get your own Hosanna t-shirt. Go have a look at our Teespring. There's a special birthday edition Hosanna t-shirt there. So and there's also some older ones from when he was a little boy as well. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yes, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe PaintedDog.tv. From myself, the mini wild dog, and of course all the live cams and the hangouts. So VM has created a hangout, which means you can go watch all 5 live cams at the same time and then click through to where the action is happening. And again, very special thanks to Tristan for coming on to the show.
Always a pleasure to be here.
So, Chloe wants to shake your hand. Here we go. Vicious dog, so vicious. Okay guys, it's been wonderful, and we will see you next week Thursday for Animal World Live.